Wow! Today we're diving into the fascinating world of building instant rapport. If you know how to create rapport, you can improve your personal relationships, excel in your career, or simply become a more effective communicator. The ability to quickly establish a connection with others is an invaluable skill. Today, we'll be exploring some powerful insights inspired by Michael Brooks' book, Instant Rapport. I'll be sharing 5 essential tips for creating instant rapport, followed by a simple yet effective 3-step formula you can start using right away. So let's get started on your journey to becoming a master of connection. Before we jump into the tips, let's talk about why rapport is so critical. Rapport is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. It's that sense of connection, understanding, and trust that allows people to communicate effectively and work together harmoniously. When you go to a social event, you may notice that some people in the room easily connect with anyone in the room. Those individuals have learned and mastered how to create instant rapport. You can learn how to do this by watching this episode. In both personal and professional settings, rapport can enhance communication, build trust quickly, increase influence and persuasion, improve teamwork and collaboration, lead to more satisfying relationships. Now that we understand the importance of rapport, let's dive into our 5 key tips for creating instant connections. Tip number 1, master the art of active listening. Our first tip is all about becoming an exceptional listener. Active listening goes beyond just hearing words. It's about being fully engaged with the speaker and showing genuine interest. Here are some ways to practice active listening. Maintain eye contact. Use nonverbal cues like nodding and smiling. Avoid interrupting. Ask relevant follow-up questions. Paraphrase to show you are understanding. Remember, people love to feel heard and understood. When you give someone your full attention, you're laying the groundwork for a strong connection. Tip number 2, mirror and match. Our second tip involves subtly mirroring the other person's body language, tone of voice, and speaking pace. This technique, also known as mirroring and matching, helps create a sense of familiarity and comfort. Some ways to practice this include adopting a similar posture, matching the other person's energy level, using similar gestures, aligning your speaking pace and volume. The key to this technique is subtlety. You want to create harmony, not mimic the person in an obvious way. When done correctly, mirroring and matching can create an almost instant sense of rapport. If you want to practice this technique, try doing mirroring and matching with a baby that you see on the bus. You will be amazed at how they respond when you mirror and match their gestures. They will really start to smile at you. It proves how effective this technique actually is. Tip number 3, find some common ground. Our third tip focuses on identifying shared interests or experiences. Finding common ground helps create a sense of similarity, which is a powerful factor in building rapport. And you can do this by asking open-ended questions about their interests. sharing relevant personal stories, discussing shared experiences or challenges, discovering mutual connections or acquaintances. Remember, the goal is to genuinely connect, not to force similarities where they don't exist. Be authentic in your approach, and you'll likely discover natural points of connection. Tip number 4, use names and remember details. Our fourth tip is simple, but incredibly effective. Use people's names and remember important details about them. This shows that you value the person and have been paying attention. So here are some strategies. Use the person's name naturally in the conversation. Take mental notes of important details that they share. Follow up on previous conversations. Show genuine interest in their life and experiences. By demonstrating that you remember and care about the details of someone's life, you're reinforcing the connection and building stronger rapport. One sub-tip on this is, when you meet someone for the first time, ask how they want to be addressed. May I call you Jack, or do you prefer Mr. McDonald? It's a common courtesy, but it's one we forget sometimes. Tip number 5, practice empathy and understanding. Our final tip is about cultivating empathy and showing understanding. This means trying to see things from the other person's perspective and understanding their feelings and experiences. Here are some ways to show empathy. Acknowledging emotions, offering support and understanding, avoiding judgment, sharing similar experiences, only if that's appropriate. By creating a safe, understanding environment, you're encouraging openness and fostering a deeper connection. Here's the 3-step formula for creating instant rapport. Now that we've covered our 5 key tips, let's dive into a simple 3-step formula you can use to create instant rapport in almost any situation. Step number 1, observe and align. The first step is to quickly observe the other person and align yourself with their energy and communication style. Here's what this involves: noticing their body language, assessing their emotional state, identifying their communication preferences. So are they more visual, auditory, or kinesthetic? Kinesthetic means feeling, or how they feel. Adjusting your own energy and communication style to match. This step sets up the foundation for a harmonious interaction. Step number 2, connect and relate. The second step is to establish a connection by finding ways to relate to the person. This can involve asking questions to uncover shared interests or experiences, sharing relevant personal stories, acknowledging common challenges or goals, using inclusive language. Instead of we, talk about I or you. And this step helps create a sense of similarity and understanding. Step number 3, engage and validate. The final step is to fully engage with the person and validate their thoughts and feelings. This includes practicing active listening, showing genuine interest in their perspective, offering empathy and understanding, providing positive feedback and encouragement. This step deepens the connection and solidifies the rapport you've built. By following these 3 steps, observe and align, connect and relate, and engage and validate, you can quickly establish rapport in virtually any situation. If you enjoyed this session and would like to know more about how to improve your conversation skills quickly, be sure to get a copy of my research report, 5 Biggest Mistakes in English Conversation. I've done extensive research into the art and science of effective conversation. If you want to improve your conversation skills quickly, you need to get a copy of this report. Just go to the link in the description below to get your own copy. I know you're going to love this report. Put it into action and watch your conversation skills go through the roof. So here are some practical examples of how to use the 3-step formula. Job interview scenario. Step number 1, observe and align. As you enter the interviewer's office, notice the demeanor. How are they sitting? What is the office environment like? Are they formal or casual? Then, match your energy level and adjust your body language accordingly. If they offer a firm handshake, reciprocate with equal firmness. Step number 2, connect and relate. During small talk, listen for cues about shared interests. For example, if you notice a sports memorabilia in their office, you might say something like, "I see you're a fan of this sports team. Did you catch the game last night?" This creates an opportunity for connection. Step number 3, engage and validate. Throughout the interview, practice active listening. It sounds like, and mention the specific challenge, is a key focus of your team right now. In my previous role, we faced a similar situation. I'd be excited to contribute my experience to help address this. This shows engagement and validates their concerns. Now, how would you use it in something like a networking event? Step number 1, observe and align. Approach a group and observe their conversation dynamics. Match the group's energy and speaking pace when you first join. Step number 2, connect and relate. Listen for topics of discussion and find a way to contribute. When discussing the company's challenges, you could say something like, for instance, if they're discussing industry trends, you might say something like, "That's an interesting point about this trend. I recently read an article that touches on that. Would you be interested in hearing about that?" This shows that you're knowledgeable and eager to engage. Step number 3, engage and validate. As the conversation progresses, ask thoughtful questions and acknowledge other people's viewpoints. For example, your perspective on this topic is quite interesting. How do you think that applies to, and then you discuss a related area. This demonstrates genuine interest and encourages further discussion. In both scenarios, the job interview and the networking event, remember to use people's names, maintain appropriate eye contact, and show authentic interest in the conversation. Practice this 3-step formula and adapt it to various situations to quickly establish rapport. Now here are some common mistakes to avoid. While building rapport is a powerful skill, there are some common mistakes to watch out for. Most important, being inauthentic or insincere. People know when you're just trying to make conversation and you're not really interested in what they say. So be authentic and sincere. Another mistake is trying too hard or coming across as desperate. Dominating the conversation. When you talk too much, that's not a sign of sincerity. Neglecting to read social cues. Watch the other person's body language. Rushing the process. You're trying to get it over with too quickly. Again, it shows that you're not really interested. Remember, building genuine rapport takes practice and patience. It's about creating real connections, not manipulating people. So there you have it. 5 key tips for creating instant rapport and a simple 3-step formula you can use right away. Let's quickly recap. Our 5 tips are: master the art of active listening, mirror and match, find common ground, use names and remember details, practice empathy and understanding. And the 3-step formula: observe and align, connect and relate, engage and validate. Remember, building rapport is a skill that improves with practice. The more you use these techniques, the more natural they'll become. And as you get better at creating instant connections, you'll likely see improvements in all areas of your life, from your personal relationships to your professional success. Start applying these tips and the 3-step formula in your daily conversations. Notice how they impact your ability to connect with others and build meaningful relationships. You'll be amazed at the results. So thank you for watching, and I hope you found this episode useful. If you did, please like and subscribe for more content on conversation skills and personal development. Remember to share your experiences in the comments below. This is Herbert Lee signing off, and until next time, keep practicing and building those connections.